Bill, thank you. Now at 6, the intense manhunt for a suspected murderer ending in Pennsylvania tonight. We have team coverage from Erie and what authorities are revealing about the investigation.
And a Fox 8 I-Team exclusive, the emotional meeting between Steve Stevens' ex-girlfriend and the victim's family.
Plus, Stevens' video uploaded to Facebook seen by millions around the world, the role social media played in the case and the message Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg has tonight. I'm Tracy McCool.
And I'm Gabe Spiegel in for Lou tonight. Fox 8 News at 6 starts right now.
Cleveland's own Fox 8 News.
I want to officially announce that the search for Steve Stevens has ended. We're grateful that this has ended. We would prefer that it had not ended this way because there are a lot of questions, I'm sure, that not only the family but this city in general would have had for Steve as to why this transpired.
After nearly 2 days on the run, the search for a suspect accused of murdering an innocent man, then uploading the video to Facebook, has ended. But Steve Stevens' death leaves many questions about the case unanswered.
Today, Erie police say after spotting Stevens' vehicle in a brief pursuit, Stevens was found dead. Beginning our team coverage tonight is Fox 8 News reporter Matt Wright, who is live in Erie, Pennsylvania with the latest on the investigation. Matt?
And this is where that nationwide manhunt came to an end this morning here in Erie along this street. We want to show you the police chase ended right here with Facebook killer Steve Stevens shooting himself inside a Ford Fusion towed away from the scene moments ago. Witnesses seeing it happen just after 11 o'clock.
It's like, wow, you know, and then everybody got all worked up and they said, that's that Ford Fusion in Cleveland, you know. The police were chasing them because there was like 7 or 8 cop cars behind them.
I just pulled over and got out, and then the state cops surrounded the car.
Did you have any idea this was the Facebook murder suspect?
When I got out and I seen the car, yeah.
So you recognize that Ford Fusion?
Yeah.
Skyfox over the scene along Route 20 on Erie's east side. Police say they got a tip from McDonald's employees that Stevens was in the restaurant parking lot about 2.5 miles from here. When state police responded, Stevens took off, leading officers on a chase. This ended when an officer used a pit maneuver on the Fusion. Police say Stevens took his own life as officers approached. Stevens, the focus, of course, of a nationwide manhunt since the random murder Sunday of 74-year-old Robert Godwin while he was walking on East 93rd Street in Cleveland. Police confirmed investigators had been searching for Stevens in Erie. He had a history of visiting the casino here, but it is still unclear why he was here today.
We searched that area prior. We searched that area initially on Sunday when we got that ping up in that area of Erie, PA. We were in the process today of going back and doing a more thorough search of that area, both ground and air assets, when this transpired.
And I want to show you some surveillance video obtained by Fox 8 News from a business here along Route 20 where the chase took place. You can see the Ford Fusion moving slowly, followed by several cruisers. The scene clearing now, but this investigation far from over. Now investigators will look into how Stevens got here and what he's been doing for the last 2 days before this all ended here today. Stevens, the only one injured in all of this today here in Erie.
Yeah, that's the question. Once again, some people are quite surprised that he was still driving that white Ford Fusion. And a lot of people wondering where he has been for the past 2 days and whether or not he had any help.
Right. And you have to think that he must not have been paying attention to all of the media attention to this, both nationally and locally, because there were indications he may have been in Erie. There were some reports about that ping here in this area for the last day or so. Also, of course, you couldn't miss those billboards with a description of him and that vehicle along highways all over the country. Clearly, he wasn't aware of that or just didn't care if he was caught.
Great coverage out there. Matt Wright live in Erie. Thank you, Matt. Meanwhile, tonight, in a Fox 8 News exclusive, the ex-girlfriend of Steve Stevens, Joy Lane, talks with the I-Team's Peggy Gallick.
And Peggy, we do understand that you actually broke the news to Joy that a body had been found that was believed to be Stevens. Such an emotional day.
You know, that it was. And I had just finished talking with Joy Lane when the news from Erie broke. Obviously, she was very shocked. Joy wanted to set up a meeting between herself and family members of Robert Godwin Sr., who also wanted to meet with her. So we helped set it up. Two of Godwin's daughters met with Joy Lane. While we were there, as you'll see, they cried, hugged, and prayed.
The hashtags Joy Lane Massacre. I don't know if I know how to be Joy Lane anymore. I don't know how to pick up all the pieces of my world at the moment.
For the first time since her former boyfriend, Steve Stevens, murdered an elderly man and then posted the video on Facebook, Joy Lane speaks out about the ordeal and what her life has been like for the past 48 hours.
I did try to call him for people who were asking me, like, call him. I did call him. He didn't answer.
She said the two had dated for a while and even looked at engagement rings not too long ago. But she said while the two remained friends, the two mutually parted ways, and she urged Stephen to seek help for gambling issues.
The last time I talked to him was Saturday night around 9 o'clock. We talked, and he told me he had quit his job and he was leaving the state.
Lane found out about the murder of Robert Godwin Sr. when a friend called her Sunday. She was, and still is, devastated.
I've got a lot of negative comments. I've been called almost every cuss word in the book. I've been told that I'm the one who should have died. He should have killed me.
But Lane says she has also had a lot of support from family, friends, and strangers, including the family of Robert Godwin Sr.
This is my husband.
They met for the first time Tuesday.
I'm gonna hug you. Just tell you, not your fault. We love you.
Thank you. I just really wanted to send my condolences, and I'm very sorry this happened to you guys.
We are sorry too, but not your fault.
Lane and two of the victims' daughters met for a brief time, saying they felt better being able to meet and discuss what happened.
It's hard because I feel bad. I feel, like the last thing that he would have said was my name and didn't know me or why he was saying it, and that's been difficult.
Godwin's daughters told Lane they know she is not at fault and she should not blame herself.
Our father was our rock and snatched from us, and we don't hold any ill feelings towards you, not even toward Steve. I'm angry with him, yes, but I forgive him.
After speaking for a short time, they asked for all of us to pray for healing.
We thank you for what you allowed him and my mother to put in us, Lord. We thank you, Lord, for the power of love and forgiveness, God. Thank you, Jesus. That only
The Godwin family and Lane, both stunned by the news of Stephen's death, they had all prayed that he would surrender to authorities. And we will have much more in this interview with Joy Lane and her meeting with the victim's daughter coming up at 6:30.
Hoping for the best for Joy Lane. Anytime you Google her name from now on, that's the first thing that's going to come up. So this is going to haunt her for some time. Does she have a nice network of family and friends around her to give her the support she needs now?
She does. She has a good network of family, friends, her co-workers. Her boss was there with her today. She has a lot of support, but this is very difficult, and people can be very mean on social media.
Just vicious.
And she did not have any inkling that he was capable of doing anything.
Can't even imagine what she went through.
And you talked with Steve Stevens' family today as well. How are they doing?
It's very hard for them. They've had an awful few days, and their heart breaks for the Godwin family, and they are sending their condolences, and they wanted to make sure that they knew how badly they feel.
Okay, we'll hear much more from the families in about a half hour. So Peggy, thank you for sharing. Well, just a short time ago, Pennsylvania State Police held a news conference in the case.
They also released new details about how they tracked down Steve Stevens. Fox 8's Maya Belay has been covering this story for us all day long from Erie. She joins us live once again. Maya?
Pennsylvania state troopers say this nationwide manhunt came to an end thanks to a tip here in Erie. Here's what we know so far. Troopers say a concerned citizen called in the tip early this morning. A short time later, after a search, troopers found Stevens. They tried to pull him over, but he would not stop. Shortly after, a pursuit began. It lasted only about 2 miles. Troopers were able to use a pit maneuver to stop Stevens from driving off. But as his car was spinning out of control, troopers say that's when Stevens committed suicide. No one else was hurt. We tracked down one man who spotted a white Ford Fusion early this morning at a McDonald's parking lot. He says he couldn't believe just a little while later Stevens would be dead.
Oh, it was scary. It's terrible. Like, I obviously didn't think anything of it, but at that time, he could have, just killed someone that just came through McDonald's. Like, and I could have been somewhat responsible for not calling in to the tip line or whatever. And it's scary to think about. It's just anything could happen, and then we don't know.
Now, troopers here did not say during this press conference if Stevens was being helped to avoid capture by anyone here in Erie, but of course, they are certainly glad that all this has ended and that no one else was hurt.
Boy, that's for sure. I think everybody was looking for Stevens and that white car, and once again, all coming to an end in Erie. Maya, thank you.
Meanwhile, the Fox 8 team taking you inside the investigation, uncovering what happened in the hours and moments that led to the end of the manhunt.
I-Team reporter Ed Gallick is here with the very latest on all of this.
Following the money and relying on you. Multiple sources tell the I-Team the big tip came from a fast food worker, and police knew they might find this guy in Erie. Investigators followed the money in searching for Steve Stevens. They learned he spent a lot of time at casinos here in Cleveland, around Ohio, and at this one in Erie. So no surprise to police then, the manhunt ended here in Erie, less than 10 miles from the Presque Isle Casino. But Stevens finally spotted not by the cops. Instead, multiple law enforcement sources say the big break came after a tip from a fast food worker.
Units, PSB is behind a white Ford Fusion.
The I-Team has obtained police radio tapes from a short chase by Pennsylvania State Police, a chase ending when police say Steve Stevens killed himself.
Just update it just in case we can put some spikes down. All right, sounds like they're stopped, Buffalo and Downing. Looks like there's one guy down in the white car.
The end came after police had tracked countless leads from tip calls like this.
I believe I saw him driving a white Ford Fusion.
And there's a Ford Fusion with temporary tags, white one, across the street. It has temp tags. I'm just not sure if that's the one.
Meantime, while Steve Stevens was on the run, the I-Team has found police did more than search for the car. They went back to the car dealer, asking about credit cards and credit reports. Following the money, looking for more clues.
Being with Joy, she drove me crazy.
The case that began with a murder on Facebook became tricky to investigate because of social media. Suddenly, fake accounts popped up for Steve Stevens. Police found themselves with no signal from the suspect's phone, no GPS to track the car. Investigators planned to go back and search again near the casino in Erie. Then this.
Hey, cars, take it easy going in there. You get all these people and vehicles out of that area.
Investigators here said officers had checked the Erie area on Sunday and they were planning to go back again for another search. Cleveland's chief didn't say specifically why, but sources close to the case and state troopers mentioned the gambling connection. Now the investigation not over yet. Police trying to retrace this man's steps. Where's he been since Sunday?
What about the reward? There was $50,000 on the line here. One would assume that it would go to the McDonald's employee who made the call.
Well, this gets a little messy. Just within the last hour, the FBI told us it never discusses who gets a reward or how much or why. Cleveland police said not clear yet. Crime Stoppers generally will take the information to the board of Crime Stoppers to decide is somebody eligible and for how much money. But this tip didn't come directly to Crime Stoppers. So your answer is not clear yet.
We don't know, and it's not that simple.
Right.
All right, Dad, thank you. Well, the killing posted on Facebook was seen by millions across the globe, sparking outrage and a lot of concern.
Many are now questioning what role, if any, should social media play in preventing future tragedies. Fox 8's Jennifer Jordan joining us now live with that part of the story. Jennifer?
And Gabe, this is an issue Facebook, the world's largest social media network, has been dealing with more frequently in recent months, especially since unveiling its live video feature. And those cries for change have caught the attention of Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg, who for the first time today spoke out about the gruesome murder of Robert Godwin Sr.
And we have a lot more to do here. And we're reminded of this week by the tragedy in Cleveland.
Zuckerberg using his biggest press event of the year to briefly address the uproar over the murder video posted to Facebook. During Facebook's annual developers conference, Zuckerberg said they have a full roadmap of products to help build groups and community, help build a more informed society, and to help keep our community safe. Cleveland Police Chief Calvin Williams also expressing concern at City Hall this afternoon about social media's role in allowing crimes to be broadcast for all to see.
Our hearts go out to the family and friends of Robert Godwin Sr. And we have a lot of work, and we will keep doing all we can to prevent tragedies like this from happening.
This is something that should not have been shared around the world, period. And, you know, our kids, although they should not have seen this, I'm sure a lot have, you know, they need to take this as a lesson. We can't do this in this country. We just can't do it.
And news of Steve Stevens' suicide coming just 1 hour before that Facebook conference began in San Jose, California earlier today. Also, Gabe and Tracy, that murder video posted on Facebook, stayed online for more than 2 hours before it was taken down on Easter Sunday.
Clearly, changes need to be made, and very, very quickly. Jennifer, thanks so much.
And we will continue to follow this story and the latest on the investigation coming up at 6:30 tonight. More team coverage and live reports from Erie, Pennsylvania. And as always, you can get updates 24/7 on fox8.com.
Still to come here on Fox 8 News at 6 o'clock, a Fox 8 I-Team exclusive. Steve Stevens' ex-girlfriend meeting with the victim's family. More on the emotional moments and the messages they have for each other.
And keeping the community safe, the brand new system a local city is unveiling to keep residents informed in an emergency.
And don't make dinner plans just yet. The specials that local restaurants and businesses are serving up tonight to ease the stress of tax day. Melissa?
The sun is shining for all, and it's warm for most of us. The exception, if you're hugging the lakeshore, temperatures are much cooler. We have rain that's nearing. We'll talk about that, the timeline of the rainfall. Plus, we'll take a look at the weekend. That's included in your 8-day forecast after this break.
Future's so bright, you gotta wear shades. Look at that beautiful shot of the Gold Coast there. Well, you might not need your shades tomorrow. Or perhaps Thursday is what a little,
well, that's good news for me because
me.
I couldn't find my shades today, so I was squinting on my way into work.
Ooh.
But you know what? I didn't mind. I just put my visor down.
You want to bring your fashion-forward kind of umbrella?
Your favorite ones you lose too, right?
It's always. I always go for the cheapest because I either sit on them, I
those
lose
you have
them
forever.
It is true. I know the really nice ones you always lose.
Always.
Always, or you break them. Well, you're right. You won't have to use the sunglasses probably tomorrow, but hopefully you have a cool-looking umbrella because you'll probably want to use that. You'll be sporting that tomorrow. And as we go into your Friday, we'll return to the sunglass kind of weather, but it will be on a cooler note. So let's take a look outside and enjoy what Mother Nature's provided us today with lots of sunshine, some high clouds out there. But obviously it's been a dry day. Very warm for interior areas. Most areas say upper 60s to low to mid 70s. Near the lakeshore, it's been a far cry from that. Temperatures closer to about 50 to 55. So a lot cooler here outside of Fox 8 Studios. High temp today, 72 at Hopkins, a low of 46. Beautiful recovery there from the sunshine. 60 and 41 considered normal. Record of 85 and 1896. Sunrise was 6:43. Sundown going down, shall I say, at 8:11 this evening. No rainfall today, but that'll change tomorrow. Showing you discrepancies in temperatures. Menor 54, Brunswick 72, Medina at 68. And as you head toward Madison, you're 65. Eastlake, you're only 54. Go south, you have low 70s. Ravenna, Cuyahoga Falls, and Strongsville all reading in the low 70s. And our basically official reporting stations showing upper 60s to even those 70-degree marks like Worcester right now at 70. The onshore wind obviously makes a big difference this time of year. Temperatures just to our south and west are around 75 to 80, and those temperatures for one day will be around. The unfortunate part of that is that it's going to be accompanied by some clouds and some showers. Looking at some of the rain on the way here, and maybe a rumble or two of thunder possible tomorrow afternoon and evening. But for tonight, it'll be increasing clouds. Could be a spot shower early early tomorrow, mainly dry tomorrow morning as you're heading out, though. Yeah, you may run into an intermittent wiper kind of a shower. Otherwise, tomorrow afternoon and evening, this is one of the fronts that kind of sticks by with showers and maybe some thunderstorms and some heavier downpours. Rebounding Thursday with more showers in the morning. Then, as you go into the afternoon, we're awaiting another front. That cold front is what takes away the 70s and brings about high temperatures in the 50s. So as you take a look overnight tonight and through the day tomorrow, about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Then as you add on the convection and more showers Thursday, that's when we'll have a good chance of many areas going above an inch of rainfall throughout that time period. Tonight we're looking at mid-50s, increasing clouds, but still quiet. Spot shower not out of the question tomorrow morning, but a better chance throughout the afternoon and evening hours as you're heading home. Still mild tomorrow and still very mild on Thursday. Showers and storms early, then again late with the actual front. Look what happens. We go from 77, subtract lots of degrees there, and go back to 52 for the high temperature on Friday, but at least it's back to shades. And then we're looking at sunshine for the majority of the weekend, running a tad below the norm. The only chance of rain would be late Saturday into early Sunday for mainly our southern counties, but the models are now starting to trend toward a dry weekend. So it may turn out to be dry and just a little on the cool side and back up to 60s and 70s by the middle part of next week.
We need the rain showers, though. Flowers,
Absolutely.
the trees, we need a little drink out there.
We need the rain showers, we need the sunshine, and yep, a little here and there.
We're going to get it.
Yep, yes, we are.
Thanks, Val. You're welcome. Well, they're most of the popular celebrities on the planet. Yes, we are talking about April the giraffe and her new baby boy. How one hospital celebrated the birth in the most adorable way.
So work on the balance a little bit there, but he's doing okay. The Cleveland once again in the spotlight. The NBA Finals, the World Series, and the Republican National Convention all here. What other big event will make its way to the shores of Lake Erie? Coming up next in sports.
Clickable Weather is brought to you by Window Nation. Shop online at windownation.com.
Could your credit use some help?
Have no fear. The Credit Clinic is here at Helene Kia. Bad credit? Slow credit? No credit?
If you have a job bringing home $350 per week, Helene Kia can approve your credit today.
Only at Helene Kia in North Olmsted and now in Sandusky.
Where will you find the adventurous Toyota RAV4? Wherever there's a mountain to be climbed, a river to be crossed, or life to be lived. Toyota RAV4 is ready, willing, and able with dynamic styling. And the most evolutionary safety features ever are now standard equipment, including a pre-collision system and lane departure alert. Now get 0% financing for 60 months on any new RAV4, or lease one for just $199 a month. Toyota, let's go places.
That feeling, only better. The thrill of stability-enhancing suspension and steering. Standard in the fun-to-drive, turbocharged Volkswagen Jetta.
Hurry in and lease this 2017 Jetta S for just $139 a month. Visit VWDealer.com today.
Passion, focus, precision. At Universal Windows Direct, you'll love our windows, but you'll adore our installers. We arrive on time, keep your home clean, and when we leave, your home will forever be transformed.
Right now, get 2 windows for the price of 1 and 0% financing for 36 months. Plus, this week only, get free installation. You'll be saying, I love my windows.
At Honda, we design cars that you'll love to drive, like the Accord. Fun to drive when you're getting away for some me time or even on your daily commute. So hurry in to the Honda Dream Garage sales event.
Test drive the Accord, named a Car and Driver 10 Best a record 31 times.
Could your credit use some help?
Have no fear. The Credit Clinic is here at Helene Kia. Bad credit? Slow credit? No credit?
If you have a job bringing home $350 per week, Helene Kia can approve your credit today.
Only at Helene Kia in North Olmsted and now in Sandusky.
Fox 8 Sports, sponsored by Universal Windows Direct. You'll be saying, I love my windows.
Sports time on a Tuesday evening. John Telich joining us now. And JT, talk about some big events coming to Northeast Ohio.
You betcha. In fact, the NCAA announcing today that Cleveland is one of those sites selected for March Madness. Now, we knew this was coming on, but they made it official today. In 2020, Well, the question is this: will there be one shining moment here in Cleveland, Ohio? The Q is going to host the first and second round games that year, and the event will be run by the Mid-American Conference. Cleveland, as you know, has hosted twice before NCAA Men's Division I tournament games or March Madness. Also, the events, the titles will be on the line, will be wrestling, track and field, and even fencing. Also, Stark County enjoying the fact that in 2020 and 2021, the Division III title game, the Stag Bowl, will be played at Tom Benson Stadium in Canton by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The Purple Raiders of Mount Union, you see them right here, they have won 12 Stag Bowls. It's been in Salem, Virginia since 1993. The next 2 years it'll be in a suburb of Houston before that 2-year stint in Canton. So great news in Northeast Ohio for both those types of events. Fantastic.
We're getting pretty good at hosting these marquee events, I think. JT, should people really expect the Cavs to blow away a team like Indiana in the first round?
Well, I think it's unrealistic. So far, the number 1 and number 3 seeded teams in the Eastern Conference, they've already lost games, and the Cavaliers are sitting pretty at 2-0. They now have to show that they can win on the road, but they're doing all right. And they're getting people to step up and make big contributions, like Mr. Iman Shumpert, who came in the game in the third quarter after sitting the first 6 quarters of the series, and he did a great job stifling Paul George, and that's no easy task. George, one of the game's most dynamic offensive forces, he had a tough time with Shump, and the coach knows.
Shump was unbelievable, and just staying ready, being a professional. He came in and made it tough on Paul George. We held Paul George to 4 points in that third quarter where our defense was really good. And Shump sparked that, made a couple shots for us also. So just his energy defensively, made a couple shots, and his tenacity, it was really good for us. We needed that spark.
Chump, no chump. We need that D. We really do. What about the Browns? What would happen if the Browns brass let the players make the picks on draft day?
Well, I'm pretty sure that you might see the defensive guys gang tackle Sashi Brown to take this guy. We're talking about Myles Garrett, the pass rushing specimen from Texas A&M. The buzz has been there's a real discussion about him and perhaps Mitchell Trubisky from Mentor. But some much crazy stuff certainly gets out, and it gets floated out there at this time of the year. So we'll take it with a grain of salt. Suffice to say, Garrett could be a real force in front of the dog pound. And veterans, Joe Hayden and Danny Shelton weighing in here.
I just feel like he'll be an immediate impact player, and I feel like he'll just be a guy that we could have rushing the passer for years to come.
I think selfishly, for me, it'd be awesome because it'd give me a chance to make more plays when we have a dominant guy on the edge too. Not saying that my guys aren't dominant right now, but I think he would add to the dominant force that we want to be.
All right, let's go baseball now. Josh Tomlin on the hill tonight. And will he be able to get back on track? That's the big question, something to keep on track. Of course, one of the best stories so far this year has been that guy right there, Dr. Smooth, Michael Brantley. So far, so good. 2 home runs on the season. He looks like Brantley, said Terry Francona, which, as folks around baseball would say, is probably the best compliment the guy can get. And what an inspiration he has been so far to his teammates. We'll see what happens tonight. We'll have highlights for the Indians to see if Tomlin can find what's been ailing him, because he's not keeping the baseball in the park, that's for sure.
Go Tribe, and come on, Myles Garrett. All right, JT, thank you so much. Trace?
Well, still to come here at 6 o'clock, we continue our team coverage on Facebook. Murder suspect Steve Stevens. Police say he committed suicide after a brief chase in Erie, Pennsylvania this afternoon. Right after the break, a live report on the investigation and the latest on the case. And a Fox 8 I-Team exclusive, the former girlfriend of Steve Stevens speaking out for the first time. More of her emotional meeting today with the victim's family.
Sports time on a Tuesday evening. John Telich joining us now. And JT, talk about some big events coming to Northeast Ohio.
You betcha. In fact, the NCAA announcing today that Cleveland is one of those sites selected for March Madness. Now, we knew this was coming on, but they made it official today. In 2020, Well, the question is this: will there be one shining moment here in Cleveland, Ohio? The Q is going to host the first and second round games that year, and the event will be run by the Mid-American Conference. Cleveland, as you know, has hosted twice before NCAA Men's Division I tournament games or March Madness. Also, the events, the titles will be on the line, will be wrestling, track and field, and even fencing. Also, Stark County enjoying the fact that in 2020 and 2021, the Division III title game, the Stag Bowl, will be played at Tom Benson Stadium in Canton by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The Purple Raiders of Mount Union, you see them right here, they have won 12 Stag Bowls. It's been in Salem, Virginia since 1993. The next 2 years, it'll be in a suburb of Houston before that 2-year stint in Canton. So great news in Northeast Ohio for both those types of events.
We're getting pretty good at hosting these marquee events, I think. JT, should people really expect the Cavs to blow away a team like Indiana in the first round?
Well, I think it's unrealistic. So far, the number 1 and number 3 seeded teams in the Eastern Conference, they've already lost games, and the Cavaliers are sitting pretty at 2-0. They now have to show that they can win on the road, but they're doing all right. And they're getting people to step up and make big contributions, like Mr. Iman Shumpert, who came in the game in the third quarter after sitting the first 6 quarters of the series, and he did a great job stifling Paul George, and that's no easy task. George, one of the game's most dynamic offensive forces, he had a tough time with Shump, and the coach knows.
Shump was unbelievable, and just staying ready, being a professional. He came in and made it tough on Paul George. We held Paul George to 4 points in that third quarter, where our defense was really good, and Shump sparked that. Made a couple shots for us also. So just his energy defensively, made a couple shots, and his tenacity, it was really good for us. We needed that spark.
Chump, no chump. We need that D. We really do. What about the Browns? What would happen if the Browns brass let the players make the picks on draft day?
Well, I'm pretty sure that you might see the defensive guys gang tackle Sashi Brown to take this guy. We're talking about Myles Garrett, the pass rushing specimen from Texas A&M. The buzz has been there's a real discussion about him and perhaps Mitchell Trubisky from Mentor. But some much crazy stuff certainly gets out, and it gets floated out there at this time of the year. So we'll take it with a grain of salt. Suffice to say, Garrett could be a real force in front of the dog pound. And veterans Joe Hayden and Danny Shelton weighing in here.
I just feel like he'll be an immediate impact player, and I feel like he'll just be a guy that we could have rushing the passer for years to come.
I think selfishly, for me, it'd be awesome because it'd give me a chance to make more plays when we have a dominant guy on the edge too. Not saying that my guys aren't dominant right now, but I think he would add to the dominant force that we want to be.
All right, let's go baseball now. Josh Tomlin on the hill tonight. And will he be able to get back on track? That's the big question, is something to keep on track. Of course, one of the best stories so far this year has been that guy right there, Dr. Smooth, Michael Brantley. So far, so good. 2 home runs on the season. He looks like Brantley, said Terry Francona, which, as folks around baseball would say, is probably the best compliment the guy can get. And what an inspiration he has been so far to his teammates. We'll see what happens tonight. We'll have highlights for the Indians to see if Tomlin can find what's been ailing him, because he's not keeping the baseball in the park, that's for sure.
Go Tribe, and come on, Myles Garrett. All right, JT, thank you so much. Trace.
Well, still to come here at 6 o'clock, we continue our team coverage on Facebook. Murder suspect Steve Stevens. Police say he committed suicide after a brief chase in Erie, Pennsylvania this afternoon. Right after the break, a live report on the investigation and the latest on the case. And a Fox 8 I-Team exclusive, the former girlfriend of Steve Stevens speaking out for the first time. More of her emotional meeting today with the victim's family.
I want to thank our men and women out there in law enforcement, and definitely thank the people around the country that called in. Again, almost 400 tips on this that we had to follow up on. And that just shows the vigilance of the people in this country.
Chief Calvin Williams not only thanking law enforcement today, but the public as well. The chief saying the department received hundreds of tips from concerned citizens. In fact, it was a tip that led to the location of Steve Stevens' vehicle in Erie, Pennsylvania this afternoon.
Now, Pennsylvania State Police say after a brief chase, Stevens shot himself. And we continue our team coverage tonight with Fox 8 News reporter Matt Wright, who is live in Erie with the latest on the investigation, something you've been following all day.
Tracy, Gabe, the scene where this nationwide manhunt for Facebook killer Steve Stevens came to an end today is now beginning to clear, but the investigation into how Stevens got here and where he's been for the last 2 days is just getting underway right now. I want to show you brand new video of the Ford Fusion Stevens was driving being towed away just moments ago. Earlier, Skyfox was overhead just after this played out along Route 20 on Erie's east side around 11 this morning. Pennsylvania State Police got a tip from McDonald's employees that Stevens was in their parking lot about 2.5 miles from here. When officers responded, Stevens took off, leading police on a chase. Surveillance footage from a nearby business shows that Fusion followed by officers. This all ended when an officer did a pit maneuver on that Fusion and Stevens shot himself as police approached. Stevens, the focus of a nationwide manhunt since the murder Sunday of 74-year-old Robert Godwin walking on East 93rd Street in Cleveland. Police say they'd been searching for Stevens in Erie since detecting a ping from his cell phone here Sunday, but those McDonald's employees were critical in bringing this all to an end.
I've heard so many people say he can't possibly be around here, so I looked out and I'm like, it sure does look a lot like him, so let's get this. And she was already on the phone at that time, so hats off to my crew and managers that work here. Just so proud of how they handled everything.
Both federal and Cleveland investigators were at the scene here today. Police in Cleveland saying they wanted this to end differently. They wanted this to end peacefully. The good news, though, is no one else was hurt here today. The investigation ongoing, though, into where Stevens has been for the last 2 days and whether he had any help in hiding.
And the real reason why he fled to Erie, that remains to be seen. Matt Wright, live in Pennsylvania. Thanks so much.
Well, just a short time ago, Pennsylvania State Police held a news conference on the manhunt for Steve Stevens and how it all ended.
Police releasing new details about how they tracked him down. Fox 8's Maya Belai has been following this story for us all day long from Erie. She continues our team coverage tonight.
We're learning new details from Pennsylvania state troopers about how this nationwide manhunt came to an end. Troopers here in Erie say it all happened thanks to a tipster phone call. Here's what we know. Troopers say a concerned citizen called in a tip early this morning. A short time later, after a search, troopers found Stevens. They tried to pull him over, but he would not stop. Shortly after, a pursuit began. Troopers here say that pursuit only lasted about 2 miles. Troopers were able to use the pit maneuver to stop Stevens from driving off. As the car was spinning out of control, that's when troopers say he committed suicide. Now, no one else was hurt. We tracked down one man who spotted a white Ford Fusion early this morning at a McDonald's parking lot. He says he couldn't believe just a short time later, Stevens would be dead.
Oh, it was scary. It's terrible. Like, I obviously didn't think anything of it, but at that time, he could have, just killed someone that just came through McDonald's. And I could have been somewhat responsible for not calling in to the tip line or whatever. And it's scary to think about. It's just anything could happen, and then we don't know.
Once we wrap up the scene, we clear from there, we'll start to backtrack his movements. He's been somewhere over the last couple of days. We don't know where. We'll have our investigators go out and try to determine where that is.
How do you backtrack the movements?
Talk to people. Start at the restaurant that he was at. Backpack. Maybe talk to friends and family. See if there's any acquaintances in the area. Typically, when something like this happens, and you have the death of the actor, some people will come forward. People will start to talk. So we'll keep our eyes and ears open. We'll make sure our numbers are out there. But again, we're going to try to find out as much as we can.
Troopers here would not say if Stevens was being helped by anyone in the area to avoid capture, but of course, everyone here breathing a big sigh of relief that this manhunt is now finally over. Back to you.
Maya, thanks so much. As we showed you earlier, the former girlfriend of Steve Stevens spoke out to Fox 8 exclusively today.
And she also met with the victim's family. Here's more on their emotional meeting and what they had to say to each other.
So for those people who had those concerns of me being a domestic violence victim, that's not true.
And this is
even our arguments would be very, low, and if we just got to a point that it was getting out of hand, we would just stop and just walk away. So that was not the case at all.
So you guys were just parting of ways, and this happened?
So he talked about his gambling. He knew that was a deal breaker, and we had discussed about the gambling and his finances. And I really told him that he should seek help. And I know that he was seeking help at some point in time. I don't know whom the therapist was, but I had encouraged him to get help. I had encouraged him to get help for the gambling. I had reached out to my connections in the community who have addiction programs and try to get him some help. But he didn't for the gambling. But I told him, at least, you know, you're upset, you're depressed, you're sad, you're angry, and you know, to get some help. And he would always say, being around me and my family and my kids, that was like a rebirth. And he'll say, yeah, I feel good. And just the other day, I think on Monday, he texted me and said, he's like, I feel magnificent, I feel good. And then things slowly start to kind of go back down. I mean, I had told him a couple weeks ago, you know, about the parting of our relationship.
Finally, we went to sleep.
I got about 3 hours last night after being up almost 48.
Couple days, yeah. We just got to sleep last night at a little after midnight, 1 o'clock last night.
Very fragmented. The first night I probably only slept maybe 3 hours, and last night I thought that I might get some sleep, but then someone called me about a fake tip at 3 in the morning, and so I think I might have fell back asleep for another hour after that. So not much rest. I'm here today with the Godwin family, Father God, and I just want to lift them up in prayer, Father God. I want their family to be protected and to have the full armor of God upon them as they go forward through their day and their life, the rest as they continue going forward in the world, dear Lord Jesus. Please gird them up. Please gird up their loins with strength and let them know that they are loved and that they are cherished and that they should find peace and comfort during this time, and that people of the world would know that the Godwin family is a winner of God.
What a moving moment just hours ago. And we're continuing to follow this story and the latest on the investigation. We'll have much more team coverage coming up on Fox 8 News at 7 and on Fox 8 News at 10 o'clock. And as always, you can get updates anytime on our website, fox8.com.
All right, turning to our weather now. It was, it's like a perfect day out there.
Yeah. Super, but you know, when you were driving in from the south, a little cooler when you headed here?
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it's so crazy what you see your car thermometer going down and down. I'm like,
I
how low are you going to go?
on our screen. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah. Something's wrong. There's something wrong with that. Nope, and that's true. It's low 50s here, but elsewhere for most areas it's low 70s.
Lake will do it.
That will do it. Let's look outside and we'll show you. In Chesterland and Geauga County, you're warm too. You're far enough away from the lake, but you get close to that lake and whoo, those temperatures do drop about 20-degree difference in the temperature near the lakeshore. Beautiful jet contrails, some fair weather cumulus we're trying to build up, obviously not producing anything. That's going to change here over the next 24 hours though. Here's a good synopsis of what's going on. 52 lakefront, 70 Cuyahoga Airport, 67 at Hopkins. Big hop in the temperature if you head away from the lake. Northeast winds obviously coming off those cooler lake waters, which by the way, that lake looks beautiful though, doesn't it? It's definitely something to look at. 67 for Hopkins, 70s as you head towards Mansfield, Worcester, Akron, Canton, New Philly, you're all about 70 to low 70s. Ashtabula mid 60s, go to Youngstown, you're almost at the 70-degree mark. Middle and upper 70s, south and west, this air mass is going closer and closer and eventually heading in our direction during a time period when we also have a chance of rain, unfortunately, when those very warm temperatures head in our direction. Here's a look at the first front coming in. Now, there could be a spot shower around as early as tomorrow morning. Not that likely. Better chances with another front. So I'll show you here. Here comes the front. Tomorrow morning could have a sporadic shower or raindrop, mainly holding off for the actual front tomorrow afternoon and evening hours. And with this front kind of in the same area, bobbing back and forth, a teeter-totter effect across northeast Ohio, there'll still be a chance tomorrow night. And then it's this front right here, this cold front, as it comes through during the PM hours of Thursday, showers and storms, but that's the one that's going to sweep away the 70s and say hello to the 50s for high temperatures for all of us, not just near the lakeshore. So for tonight, we're looking at mid-50s, increasing clouds, quiet otherwise. Tomorrow, mainly during the afternoon and evening, low 70s, rain and thunderstorms. Then, as we go through this system, I just want to kind of focus on a system this weekend that yesterday we pronounced raindrops expected Saturday night through Sunday. But this area of low pressure has two different solutions with two different models. One's the American model called the GFS, in case you wondered, and the European model. The American model still takes a farther northerly track, but still makes it just our southern county. So here's how we're doing. We're shaving away the chances of rain and lowering them because it could turn out to be a completely dry weekend. As we go through Friday and Saturday, lower temperatures behind the first frontal boundary that passes by Thursday. And then for the weekend, temperatures will be a tad on the cool side. But Saturday night through Sunday, the American model still has our southern counties grazed with a few rain showers. We'll be definitely gone by early Sunday morning around church service time. That being said, the European model has been really strict in saying, and definitely saying that it's going to be pronounced dry all weekend. So I think there's a better chance the weekend turns out dry. High temperatures only around 60. Starting next week, dry, and even through the middle part of the week. And the good part of that is we are on the uphill bound at that point, from mid-50s to mid-60s to about 70 Wednesday, with 3 dry days in a row.
Oh, we'll take it. I love this time of year, too.
I really do. It's comfortable heat.
Yeah, a little bit for everybody.
That's true. Nice variety.
And no snow.
No snow.
Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Bypassing social media in an emergency. The brand new system unveiled in a local city to get information to residents and keep the community safe.
And it's a day no one wants to have circled on their calendars. The freebies many local businesses are offering up to make tax day a little easier.
In the moments following emergencies like the shooting of Robert Godwin, is it possible to send information about the search for a killer directly to residents' phones, bypassing social media?
Well, such a system was used recently for the first time in one local city in a search for a young girl. Dave Nethers was there today, and he joins us from the Fox 8 studio at the University of Akron.
This system used for the first time recently in Canton to send a reverse 911 message out to residents' cell phones, and in its debut, it performed beautifully.
April 11th, 10-year-old Najee Adkins disappears from outside her home on Roland Avenue in Canton after getting off of a school bus. Police, for the first time ever, sent a message to residents' phones within a 2-block radius asking for help finding her.
It was basically describing the little girl and what she was wearing, her backpack, her clothes, and to keep an eye out for her if seen.
My neighbors and stuff start getting the message, and the whole neighborhood just start canvassing, and people just start coming out and looking for her.
Within an hour, the girl is located and safely returned home.
I was very grateful that everybody was concerned and looking for my grandbaby. My dear, was a nervous wreck, so they asked me to stay home, which was really hard. That was really hard not to go look for her.
It was the first time the city of Canton has ever used a wireless emergency notification system that can instantly message a very focused or a very broad audience.
It's completely opt-in, it's completely free. All we need is your telephone information, your name and your address, and you will be a part of our system.
Also known as the Stark County Emergency Notification System, it can also be used in times of natural disasters, but is only used sparingly so that people know to take the message seriously.
It's a great tool. It's the easiest way for us to alert the public of anything happening, and the quickest way.
Najee's grandmother believes it has already proven its worth.
You know, everything just turned out wonderful, and I just thank God for them and for the system, and yes, it works. So while this is the first time the system's been used in Canton, it is available to other communities that are enrolled, and they can use it as well. From the Fox 8 studio at the University of Akron, I'm Dave Nethers.
A 75-year-old man facing charges for groping a young girl at a pool in Middleburg Heights, pleading not guilty today. The victim, who was 9 years old at the time, says Nikolai Kalka grabbed her and molested her while she was in the water at the Middleburg Heights Rec Center. Police say she reported it to a lifeguard, and officers then made the arrest. Kalka is charged with gross sexual imposition. He is being held on bond. He will be back in court on Friday. Canal Fulton police asking for help finding the person or persons responsible for building a moonshine still found on Friday. Police say a resident noticed the suspicious materials along the equestrian trail on Milan Street. Authorities say they believe the still was for the illegal production of moonshine and confiscated about 30 gallons of liquid without proper permits. Moonshine production is illegal under state and federal laws. Anyone with information is asked to call Canal Fulton Police.
Well, today many people unfortunately have circled on their calendar. Yes, we're talking about tax day. Tax returns are due today, as is any money you owe to Uncle Sam for 2016. But that's the bad news. Here's some good news. Restaurants and businesses are offering some big discounts and freebies to help you cope. Restaurants from Bob Evans to Hungry Howie's Pizza and Sonic are participating in tax day discounts. Other places like Chuck E. Cheese and Planet Fitness are signing up as well. For a full list of locations and coupons, just head over to our website, fox8.com.
I'll take the sting out of it just a little bit. Well, Starbucks certainly knows how to keep up with the trends.
Still to come here at 6 o'clock, social media going crazy over a new drink what you can get in stores tomorrow that will have you thinking spring.
I always love this picture here from our roof cam, but it's even better when you got all those boats out in their slips. And I have
I see one. Is there one out there on the far right?
Is that yours, Gabe?
I wish it was. I'll get there fishing for some walleye today.
Yeah. Well, IKEA is certainly known for its easy-to-assemble furniture, or sometimes not, but now the Swedish Furniture and Home Goods store is thinking about expanding into the food business and opening a set of chain restaurants. According to Forbes, IKEA has been looking to expand for years now and recently realized that its food operations may be worth a shot. The stores have had cafes in its stores since 1958, and its meatballs and cold salmon certainly have a fan following. In fact, 30% of IKEA shoppers come to the store just to eat.
30%.
Yes, their food's pretty good. Have you ever had it?
No.
The meatballs, they're fantastic.
I hear they're smashing, yeah, right.
It is too early to know if, when, or where the restaurant will open. Yeah, you have to plan your whole shopping trip around eating
Yes,
there.
you needed something to wash down those meatballs. Starbucks is releasing a new drink, and its colors will have you thinking spring. Introducing the new Unicorn Frappuccino. The drink will be available beginning tomorrow through Sunday at participating locations across the country, and depending on your taste, it may either be a dream come true or a little gross. The beverage is said to be made with pink powder blended into cream frappuccino with mango syrup and layered with a sour blue drizzle. At first taste, it's said to be sweet and fruity. But in a statement by Starbucks, they say, give it a stir and its colors and flavors will transform into magical elixir madness.
I'm sure it does.
That sounds disgusting.
Sounds like a lot of sugar, too.
I guess so. Buzzed on sugar. We waited months for April the giraffe to give birth to her new calf.
And now that she has finally welcomed her new bundle of joy, fans of hers all over the world are celebrating in a fun and unique way. But nothing is quite as cute as this. St. Joseph's Women's Hospital in Tampa was already ready to welcome a new baby right after April. Baby giraffe was born exactly 12 minutes after April gave birth, and the staff had a special giraffe hat ready to go.
Oh, look at that.
Nurse Jen McCutcherson had made the hat about 2 months ago when she thought the giraffe was going to deliver. Girl wasn't the only baby to get a homemade hat that day, but the only one to get one with such a fun theme. Having a little fun
Who
with
doesn't
it.
love a little baby giraffe?
Yeah, I know. And
at least the hat.
so cute, isn't it? Well, I want to thank you for joining us tonight at 6, both at home and online.
Bill Martin and Elizabeth Noreka coming up next with all the day's top stories on Fox 8 News at 7. Have a great night.
Fox 8 News is brought to you by the Calvetta Brothers Floor Show. It's time to fall in love again with your home.